welcome the national teams of Saudi Arabia and Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand for the national anthems of Saudi Arabia and Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you please to stand for a moment's silence in memory of the tragic events that took place in London last Saturday night. We stop to remember all the lives lost, all those families and friends affected by this terrible tragedy, and in particular, we reflect on the loss of 2 young Australian women living and working in London, Kirsty Bowden and Sarah Zelenak.
And our thoughts are with the families of Sarah Zelenak and Kirsty Bowden. Indeed, all those who lost loved ones in those terror attacks. Aaron Moy, of course, has his base in England. He was a Wembley winner with Huddersfield a week or so ago. Back from a ban tonight. And Tommy Rogic, as we say, in super form, the winner in the Scottish Cup final with Celtic. And of course, he netted twice here at Adelaide Oval last year against Tajikistan. Maybe he can repeat that feat tonight. Ange Postecoglou will hope so. It is a huge evening for the national team. Just before we start, referee Ermatov has spotted something that needs to be dispatched on the sidelines. Thought it was a ring that needed to be got rid of. Salam Al-Dossari. And it is Australia who get us underway in the green and gold, playing from left to right in this first half. And as we mentioned already, Andy Harper, this is simply a must-win game.
Yeah, it is. And we love watching the Socceroos when it's must-win. I guess there's part of everyone's mindset that we could do without the stress, but really, that's what sports at this level should all be about. Cutting edge, must-win. 2 very good teams going at it for World Cup qualification.
Bert van Marwijk, as you heard in his pre-game interview with Daniel Garb, rather bristled at the suggestion that they might park the bus tonight. Andy, you think they'll come out and attack, or is it all just a bit of kidology on behalf of the Dutchman?
I think they'll be very cagey.
There's Tommy Rogic looking to launch the first attack into the box for Leckie. Didn't really get hold of it. Back for Rogic, who tries to clip it over the top for Tommy Juric. Nice little half opening, if you like, in the opening seconds.
Oh, excellent first contribution from Tom Rogic. Not the pass in the end, but the penetration down the left, the combination with Matt Leckie. Or the right, rather. It's a little bit hopeful in the end, this from Leckie. It's a hit and hope, really. We just need a little bit more composure, even at these early stages, Simon.
Great to see Tommy Rogic back in the national team. Of course, he missed out against Iraq and the UAE. That's a lengthy ankle injury. Perhaps a key man tonight for Australia. Shot from Taisir Al-Jassim, who's scored a couple of times against the Socceroos in past internationals. He'll be one of the 3 that will play in behind the lone striker, Mohamed Al-Salawi. You're perhaps a little surprised he was preferred to Al-Shamrani, or not?
Al-Jassim?
Al-Salawi.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of another. I mean, Van Marwijk's not going to answer your questions. I don't know how I'm going to on those team selections, Simon.
Didn't want to answer many questions yesterday.
Exactly the point. Look, I think that part of the field, I'm talking the front part of the field, the creative part of the field.
Oh, Yasser Al-Musailam, with the clearance charged down by the on-rushing Tommy Juric. Could have gone anywhere, really.
Sure could have. Yeah, the Saudis got plenty of options in the front half of the field, not so many in the back half. And that could have been brilliant for Tommy Juric, really. The blush is saved.
There was a suggestion that Van Marwijk was tempted to go with Walid Abdullah between the posts today. Maybe that accounts for that nervy moment from Al-Musailam, who's retained his spot. Also Salman Al-Faraj to the diminutive Yahya Al-Shahiri. And out on the left is Abdullah Al-Zouri. Now Salam Al-Dosri is a beautifully technical player with Al-Shahiri. Very squat figure, the Saudi number 8, but very much their playmaker. Predominantly left-footed, but it's a pretty decent left peg.
Well, they're beautiful. Just off the front line, the Saudis. They're missing Alabed. Nawaf, you mentioned him. He's, I think, their most dangerous player, so that's a little bit of consolation for the Socceroos, but Al-Shahiri is not far behind him.
This is Matthew Leckie. 2 goals in his last 2 internationals. He's perhaps one player who's enjoying the new system employed by Ange Postecoglou. Rumour has it that his new club, Hertha Berlin, with whom he's signed for the next German Bundesliga season, are going to use him in that right wing-back role as well. Which will no doubt please Ange Postecoglou. That touch from Leckie, perhaps a little less so. In fact, he's been rather rusty in his early exchanges.
Well, he's probably had the ball more than any other of the Australians in these opening few minutes. Yet to complete a pass, find a teammate. I thought the Hertha Berlin's coach's comments about Matthew Leckie, or one of them, was telling.
See how this develops. No way through for Rogic. It's given away by Al-Khaibri. Brad Smith trying to muscle his way around his opponent, Mohamed Al-Barak, a little bit unfairly in the opinion of Ravshan Erbatov.
Yeah, again, Brad Smith not a lot of match time in the Premier League this year. Picks the ball up with plenty of space and not a lot of idea on how to get into a dangerous situation there for his team, hitting the foul.
Just 270 minutes all season for AFC Bournemouth in the Premier League for Brad Smith. Just 3 starts. The last of those was in January. Seemingly very much a first choice for Ange Postecoglou. This is Al-Zouri being hassled by Tommy Juric. He's forced the turnover.
Yeah, the Hertha Berlin's comments about Matthew Leckie were really interesting telling, as we've obviously come to know him out of the A-League with Adelaide United, and then watching him with Ingolstadt, etc., as a more attacking player. Well, at Berlin, he'll be encouraged to join in the attack rather than be the attack.
His previous club side, Ingolstadt, of course, were relegated out of the Bundesliga. So Matthew Leckie will stay in the top flight next year. Again, Al-Masala with the error, and Australia now do have the opening goal. Oh dear, the Saudis in a heck of a mess, and Tommy Juric gobbled up the gift. Just the sort of start that Ange Postecoglou would have dreamt of last night, and Tommy Juric has delivered. But it's a huge mistake from Yasser Al-Musailim, who's looked very nervous in these opening stages. A slip on the turf, and Juric a very tidy finish. Australia lead.
Well, heaps scorn on the goalkeeper, but he loses his footing. Massive credit to Tommy Juric. One thing to be alert to the opportunity once the goalkeeper has put it on for you, but to have such perfect technique to execute right on the moment as it was required. Brilliant from Tommy Juric. A gift for Australia to ease the nerves.
Well, at last a goal from open play, if you can call it that, Andy. 386 minutes. It was Juric with the last one against Saudi Arabia in Jeddah, and it's Juric again against the Saudis in Adelaide.
Well, let's just watch very carefully. The Socceroos now to really push. We expect them to start strongly in every game and dominate and press their opponents back. But I would suspect that Ange Postecoglou had in his mind, if they can break the Saudis early with the goal, to really ram it home from there.
It might just open the game up as well if the Saudis did have an intention to sit back and try and play on the counter. Well, they've got to rethink that, at least at some juncture, now that they trail. There's the scoreline. Tommy Juric with his 5th international goal and his 23rd cap. Another attacking player, and he is in fine form for his club. In Juric's case, Lucerne in Switzerland. 4 goals in his last 5 at club level. And now one perhaps to settle the nerves here at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, you see the highlights reels going around about errors that lead to goals. There's Al-Masailan, the Saudi goalkeeper, probably of the two, deserved to be punished for the first one, not the second. But it's the second
Nasty
one.
challenge on Jackson Irvine. Al-Khaibri, one of the 2 defensive screeners, is going to get a word of warning from Ravshan Ermatov.
This is a very early pattern.
Right through the back of Jackson Irvine.
Tackling from behind from the Saudis. Now, you spoke about the Bert van Marwijk coaching style. You'll remember the rather muscular approach to the 2010 World Cup. Can I put it that way?
Yeah, Nigel de Jong, classically in the final. Here's Brad Smith, who's got the better of Albarak, trying to clip it across, which he did. And it's Al Zouri made the clearing header, and the Saudis scramble it away towards Salman Al Faraj. The Australians trying to keep their foot on the throat of the Saudis, not giving them a moment to settle, which will please their coach. Here's Al-Masailan again, gets rid quickly this time. Smith, has he got the pace to get around to Mohamed Al-Barak? Not this time. And it's another rather needless foul by the fullback.
Good space again for Brad Smith, and very happy for him to test out his opposing fullback in that sort of situation. So a plus for that, a tick for that, a minus and a negative for the needless foul at the end of it.
Look at how Australia converge around the man in possession, Salman Al Faraj. That will delight Ange Postecoglou. Touched by Jedinak. There's a tone for that error. Omar Housawi lets Abdullah Al Zouri take control, but it's rather sloppy play from the Saudis. Australia warming to their task here. Just got away from Ryan McGowan.
Passing not great from the Socceroos in the opening 10 minutes. I think intent, certainly off the ball, they're working in great numbers, but up against very gifted tacticians, so they're going to have to be on their game as they work these mini presses around the field, because a back heel here, a slide of foot there, and the Saudis will be away. So the application good from the Socceroos, in possession, haven't really hit their straps yet.
Interesting that Van Marwijk has gone with Abdul Al Zouri, the number 4 there, centre screen, with left full-back, replacing the more usual left-sided defender, Mansour Al-Harbi. Whether injury had a part to play in that, I'm not sure. Given he's not played in over 12 months, big call. Here's Leckie, his direct opponent. Cross-field for Smith, who's seen plenty of the ball in these opening stages, in an attacking sense. And that will be a corner off Mohamed Al-Barak.
Better. The 3rd time down the channel for Brad Smith, and he gets an outcome for his team. His first 2 entries resulted in fouls conceded. He wins the corner here, from which situations the Socceroos have been routinely dangerous. The delivery of Moy is normally pinpoint.
Both goals, you'll remember, against the Emirates last time out, came from such situations. Let's see if Aaron Moy can put one on a dime for the likes of Jedinak or maybe Trent Sainsbury. Ravshan Ermatov just sorting out the usual pushing and shoving as they cluster around the penalty spot. He's keeping a beady eye on Salman Al Faraj, who's trying to mark his man. It's in by Moy. Goalkeeper came and didn't reach it. Scooped away to safety by Omar Housawi. Steadied down by Smith, and this is Tommy Rogic. It's neatly played by Australia. Back towards Degenek, and they'll build again through Jedinak. I don't know if you're aware, Andy, of how late the call was to replace Bailey Wright with Ryan McGowan, but whenever the call came, kind of had too much time to prepare. Get your thoughts on that in a moment. It's a lovely ball by Irvine. Matthew Leckie over the top of one defender. Al-Zouri was back in possession goal side. That's nicely done by Al-Faraj. Al-Dossari trying to break through the challenge of Irvine. Jedinak couldn't square it up for Smith. This is where the Saudis might look to cause some damage on the counter. Says Mohamed Al-Bouraik. The best release, in all honesty. Way behind Taisir Al-Jassim. It's another go at it. Omar Housawi for Abdullah Al-Zouri.
Well reorganised by Australia. The ball given away by Mila Jedinak, and it's taken, look at the clock, just on 14 minutes for the Saudis to have any sort of consecutive possession inside Australia's half. And the Socceroos, very dominant, without passing the ball, I maintain, as well as they'd expect of themselves.
This is Al-Shahiri. Just overcooked that one, which favoured Matt Ryan. He's certainly capable of splitting the Australian defence with his technical ability. Again, the Saudis lose out in centre field. Forward by Leckie. Juric on the stretch. Irvine for Tommy Rogic. Crowded out by Salman Al-Faraj. This is Salem Al-Dossari. Again, it's behind Al-Salawi this time. Passes aren't sticking for the Saudis either.
No, that's just as well for the Socceroos. I mean, they're a terribly difficult team to play against when they get in their rhythm. Australia have denied them that opportunity so far.
Sainsbury has to be mindful of Al-Salawi, who has picked his pocket on the blind side. Mohamed Al-Salawi, well, they have a shot in anger, at least, the Saudis. Way off beam, but just a little warning sign for the Socceroos.
Interesting reaction from the Socceroos. You watch a lot of football, a lot of teams where Trent Sainsbury, on this occasion, makes an error in possession like that, and the pressure's on. The play breaks down. There's all sorts of verbals flying around from the team. The Socceroos all turned, got back to work, nothing said.
Nudge on Al-Bouraik from Tommy Rogic was enough for the referee to blow his whistle. Trent Sainsbury, of course, another one who's not playing an awful lot of football at the moment. Just 19 minutes for Inter Milan. There's been an off-the-ball obstruction by Brad Smith. Australians aren't impressed. Saudis will have another set piece. See what Taisir Al-Jassim and Al-Shahiri can cook up between them. Al-Jassim, as the senior man, has pulled rank perhaps. High defensive line for the Australians. Delivered by Al-Jassim. Jedinak's header only partly away. And Yahya Al-Shahiri didn't really set himself correctly, which for a man of his capabilities, rather disappointing, you'd say.
He's got much better technique than that. The best header from Mila Jedinak, in truth. And it's set up for Yahya Al-Shahiri. And he has scored some belters in this qualifying campaign. You wouldn't know it, seeing that effort.
Just a couple of little sighters for the Saudis. Reminding the Australians that they are here. It's just as important for them to win tonight. Leckie. Right idea by Jackson Irvine. That's not the execution. Thomas Ireland's going to get that sort of treatment from the Aussie fans all night, I think, after his early howler. Spurred by Marbeek is wishing he did go with Walid Abdullah. It's loose from Al-Khaibri. Short from Rogic. Al-Dosri. Al-Khaibri. For Osama Housawi. This is Omar Housawi. Well, I'm told they are not related.
Symptomatic of where the Socceroos are at the moment. Pass under hit or over hit or slightly off target, and they could be doing it more comfortably than they are at the moment, Australia.
Big sliding challenge from Brad Smith on Al-Barak. Tidied up by Milos Deganek, but Ryan's touch was heavy. That allowed Mohamed Al-Salawi to cause him a little bit of a headache. I think one of the reasons Al-Salawi has been included to lead the line is that increased mobility to work that front line. Al-Shamrani tends to drift in and out of games. Superb footballer. Quite as energetic as Al-Salawi, who's again trying to close down the goalkeeper here.
He's a good footballer. Finds himself on the substitutes bench, but he's more a strike weapon. He's more a power player. The mould at the moment of this Saudi team is the clever, crafty, short turning circles. Here we go.
Al-Salawi got away from him, but it'll reach Salam Al-Dosri on the left. Yahya Al-Shahiri, danger here for Australia. And Taisir Al-Jassim just turned into a bit of a cul-de-sac, fortunately for the Socceroos. Really, since conceding that early goal to Tommy Juric, the Saudis have cleared their heads and started to ask just a couple of questions of the home team.
Well, if they have space in the front half of the field with settled possession and a little bit of momentum, they'll be very, very hard to stop. The Socceroos' poor ball retention is heaping coals on the situation at the moment for Australia. Very nervous moment, that last attack.
Again, Matt Ryan letting the ball run across his body to try and clear left-footed. Al-Salawi was offside there, didn't bother challenging Trent Sainsbury. It's hard work for Australia to get out of their own half. They have done now. Tommy Juric. Throw in for the Roos. Tommy Juric, who doesn't mind a goal against Saudi opposition, does he? Not just last international in Jeddah in October of last year, but famously, of course, the winner in the Asian Champions League final for Western Sydney Wanderers against Al Hilal back in 2014. Goal coming in the first leg. Australia had to withstand a barrage, rather the Wanderers had to withstand a barrage in the second. And the Saudis allowed to turn in midfield. Salam Al-Dosri is through. Lovely return ball. It's 1-1. What a finish, Salam Al-Dosri, who scored against Australia in Melbourne back in February 2012, has repeated the trick, and you have to say that equaliser has been coming. 1-1.
Well, Jackson Irvine couldn't get to the ball, then slipped. Look at the speed, the change of pace right through the heart of the Socceroos formation. A lot of players for the home team attracted to the ball. The give and goes just killed Australia. Salam Al-Dosari, Beautiful little 1-2 and a finish that's so assured.
Well, out of the national team picture for 433 days after a bit of a row prior to the game against the UAE back in March 2016. He was punished for joining up with the camp late and has been out in the cold for over a year. And showing all his quality with that finish, just his third goal at international level, and two of them have come against the Socceroos. And Australia and this crowd at Adelaide Oval are stunned. It's going to get away from Matthew Leckie. And just as we thought that early goal would shake any nerves out of Australian systems, Andy.
Yeah, well, they patently didn't go on with it. They haven't found still. The last pass didn't find Matthew Leckie a solution to the jitters in possession. The Saudis not so comfortable on the ball, even away from home, in a country where they've had little footballing joy. And it was a beautifully incisive move, so fast across the ground with beautiful touch and a wonderful finish.
It's a wonderful shot of the big old famous cricket scoreboard here. Doesn't make for happy reading though at the moment for Australia. Long way to go, of course, but a draw, which is the way things are at the moment, is not the required result. The way things are at the moment is not the required result. His ankle's clipped, but advantage played. Stumbled by Rogic. Salman Al Faraj pinches the ball. This is Mohamed Al Baraik. The Saudis get the benefit of the decision. Al Shahiri, who in build, I don't know if you agree, and he reminds me very much of Fernando Brandan, not exactly the same sort of player, but same sort of stature.
He's got beautiful touch. Let's see if he's got the same appetite as the Melbourne City man, Fernando Brandan.
Mohamed El Salawi has copped a stray arm to the face. He remains prone on the deck. Bert van Marwijk wants the game stopped. He's at the edge of his technical zone. And Khyber gets the ball out. Maybe now they'll get some attention to their striker. Saying, did you see the flailing arm? His coach repeating the mantra to the fourth official. Let's have another look. Yeah, not a huge amount in that, Andy.
No, but of course now the convention is that the ball has to be played back to the Saudis, who do their thing. I mean, it's... At any rate, Socceroos need to do better. That's the bottom line at the moment.
Sainsbury. Salawi again could have caused a problem. Gowan. Up towards Rogic, who couldn't control it. This is Moy. Yeah, that sort of sums up the last 10 minutes or so for Australia. Miloš Degenek treading on the ball. Leckie trying to restore some order. Tommy Rogic had drifted into the wide area. Moy was available. That passing lane has now been closed off. So they'll look to build down the left through Brad Smith. For Degenek. Ryan McGowan playing in his home city, but can't find a teammate. Al Faraj. Oh dear. Well, is that a back pass? No, Rafshan Omatov is happy to let that one ride. It wasn't intentional from Omar Housawi. It was pretty unconventional.
Oh, if only he was that good to mean it. That's a haymaker.
Slice into the slips at this venue, you could call it. There's Al-Dosri. Very clever play. Al-Zouri. Yahya Al-Shahiri. Al-Shahiri onside. Wants a runner. Back for Al-Faraj. Taisir Al-Jassim. And Mohamed Al-Baraik. Back to their captain, Osama Housawi. Now Abdul Malik Al-Kaibri. Al-Shahiri looking for the little give and go, which wasn't really on. So he's quickly back on the ball. This wasn't in the script really for Australia. They were supposed to dominate possession. And the benefit of that early goal. Since then it's gone a little pear-shaped. Rogic can't make the ball stick. Salam Al-Dosri. His goal restored parity in the 23rd minute. Bowled over by Taisir Al-Jassim. Deganek firing it out towards Brad Smith. Looking to provide the cross, but nobody really in a decent position centrally. Back with Sainsbury. Everybody behind the ball for the Saudis. Ryan McGowan. Lecky. Again, it's pretty tame from the Australians, and Ryan McGowan's been done like a dog's dinner by Salam Al-Dosri, and the Saudis could be in again here. Here's the chance for Taisir Al-Jassim. It's a tame shot in the end. In fact, it was Al-Shahiri with the effort, my apologies. Routine for Matt Ryan, but, well, another worrying moment for Australia.
Because it was an awful piece of possession play in the Saudis' half of the field. And the turnover, Ryan McGowan couldn't foot it. The break down the left-hand side, it was more dangerous actually than the Saudis made it look in the end. The Socceroos escaping big time on that occasion. Architects of whatever trouble is confronting them at the moment. They're their own architects at the moment, the Socceroos, because their possession, their passing is just not up to scratch.
Jackson Irvine almost with another little error there that could have allowed the Saudis in. As it is, they're on the ball again through Taisir Al-Jassim. Al-Dosri playing with real confidence, the Green Falcons. Just on the back three that Australia playing tonight, Andy. As we mentioned already, Sainsbury only 19 minutes in the last 4 months. Deganek, an unfamiliar role, left-hand side of the thing. Ryan McGowan, drafted in at the last minute. That of any concern for you tonight?
No, it's not. It's not. The downfall has been inexplicable in their game. They've got to rediscover that very quickly. Conversely, even though they haven't had as much possession, Socceroos with more of the ball, the Saudis just look a lot more comfortable.
Lucky trying to get away from Al-Zouri. He's done so. Nice little threaded ball for Jackson Irvine, and a timely intervention from Omar Housawi prevented Irvine from making further progress. Soft foul on Al-Faraj, it looked, but foul nonetheless. Free kick. Australian momentum broken again. Australian substitutes warming up. Danny Vukovic front of screen. There's Dylan McGowan and Jamie McLaren, who is potentially one of those who could be used by Ange Postecoglou. Lecky, oh dear, giving it straight to Mohamed Al-Salawi. The angle is narrow, and he had nobody up alongside, so really had no other option but to go himself. But far too casual again from Australia. These are worrying signs for the home team. What was Lecky thinking here? Just didn't look.
I just think it's symptomatic that they're just off their game, in possession at the moment. That was the latest. They're having to fight for every ball when in possession.
And Al-Salawi is just waiting for any little scrap that falls his way. It's been, to be fair to him, a terrific display of leading the line in these opening 34 minutes. All of which culminated in that wonderful assist for Al-Dosri. He's again in behind Ryan McGowan. Squared up, it's behind Al-Salawi this time, and Brad Smith should be able to complete the tidy up. And he's been clipped as well. Free kick Australia, pressure relieved. But boy, that defensive line is being tested time and time again.
Yeah, well, this is the tail end of it. Brad Smith carrying the ball out of defence again might have been more nasty for the Socceroos. That was the first dangerous moment where the defensive structure didn't hold up. Ryan McGowan playing the right of three. Caught out of position, the ball in behind him, no cover. And again, look at how Australia are having to fight when in possession.
They've got that possession now. Matt Lecky heading for the byline. Decent ball in, and Juric turns it into the corner, and Australia's lead is restored. Tommy Juric, the man on the spot again, in fine fettle for his club, and that is just the ticket for the Roos, who are just that little bit closer, perhaps, to a ticket to Russia. And boy, they needed that.
Well, we've seen how dangerous the Saudis are in the front half of the field. They're woefully inadequate defensively. You get a couple of passes to stick and you're likely to score. And Tommy Juric does ever so well. Matt Lecky's best moment of a problematic game for him so far, but it's a beautiful cross, make no mistake about it. And Tommy Juric gifted a lot of time to pick his spot, and he made the most of it. It's the perfect header. And what a relief for Postecoglou. Seriously, the Socceroos were wading through treacle for 10 minutes there, and they've been given more respite.
It's a first double in Australian colours for Tommy Juric. You can almost hear the sighs of relief all around Adelaide Oval. In terms of the marking there for Saudi Arabia, well, let's be frank, Andy, there wasn't any. They were just playing statues at the back.
No, but this is the trouble for Australia. You don't want to get into a shootout with the Saudis because they're just enormously talented in the front part of the field when confident and in touch, and they're in good touch. And Australia have shown the antidote for this, and that's measured possession, completed passes, getting the ball moving forward, which is the Socceroos' mojo under Postecoglou. It worked a treat. Two passes that stuck, and Tommy Juric finishes it off.
Well, let's see if that second goal clears their heads. First goal didn't. Here's a bit of room for Tommy Rogic to advance into. Lecky, Juric in position. He's on a first half hat-trick, of course. Moy. Smith is free far left. There's no way through to that particular flank, so they'll work it back towards Lecky. He's lost possession briefly. He feels he might have been impeded by his opponent. Salem Al-Dosri. Dug out by Abdul Al-Zouri. of that resilience under Bert van Marwijk. His record since the last Asian Cup held here in Australia in January 2015. Saudis have played 19 games since that tournament finished and only lost just the one. That was against Japan, so there's a lot more work to do for Australia. Too straight, too hard for Juric. Rogic touch sending Brad Smith careering backwards rather than forwards, which is what he wanted. This is Milos Degenek. He's turned it over very cheaply, straight at Salman Al Faraj. Now he's got to give chase. The Saudis have two lurking in the penalty area, one of whom is Salam Al Dosri. It's a clever header, and the ball is in the back of the net, but the whistle has already blown. And Australia are grateful. Taisir Al Jassim with a tidy finish, but he was in an offside position, according to that linesman far side.
Yeah, it's a good
and
ball.
The linesman's right.
It's a good finish, though.
Wasn't it just?
And again, the chance came because of a very cheap Australian giveaway in possession.
Last 5 minutes of fascinating first half, really. Scooped over the top by Aaron Moy. It was just beyond the reach of Jackson Irvine, who applauds the intent.
Yeah, that was the action that Jackson Irvine's been waiting for. Aaron Moy receiving the ball facing the Saudi goal.
That's Jackson Irvine's game, isn't it?
Sprinting out of midfield to get into the box. He spoke during the week of how important it was, how good it was, what a treasure and treat and luxury it was for him to be in camp with one of the world's best at that part of the game, Timmy Cahill.
Here is Irvine. He's told by his teammates to turn. He's particularly given the best release for Lucky. Australia will get a throw.
It's been the story, though, hasn't it, Simon? It's giving a pass and it turns into a lottery. Can your teammate get to it?
Words are back for Aaron Moy. He has time to consider his options. Powerful header by Jedinak. Flags up against Juric. Just smelt the opportunity of a hat-trick there for a fraction of a second. The early part of his career, of course, in the A-League with Adelaide United in this city, Tommy Juric. Plenty of local interest, not least Ryan McGowan, who's starting, of course. Was his step forward, which has found its way through for Jackson Irvine. He can't link up with Rogic. This is Abdul Malik Al-Khaibri. Raya Al-Shahiri finding Salam Al-Dosri beautifully in space. Danger lurking potentially again for the Australians. Al-Zouri's cross took a deflection, which took it away from Al-Salawi and scooped into touch off the boot of Brad Smith. Danger is always lurking when the Saudis have the ball in the Australian half of the pitch, and that's a lovely turn by Abdul Al-Zouri, leaving Lecky for dead, and they'll get a corner off the body of Ryan McGowan, the Saudis. Team has thrown up their captain, Osama House. Al-Sallawi for Yahya Al-Shahiri's delivery. Australia deal with it. And Jackson Irvine on the charge. So he's a little short of numbers if he can find the right release here. Rogic. And the ball just seemed to stick a little bit as it found its way through to Rogic. And he in turn couldn't release Brad Smith. Good solid challenge by McGowan. Walk on the surface pre-game. Andy, is the surface a little bit sticky? Is that the right term?
It's hard underfoot, so players aren't going to slide. I mean, it looks beautifully verdant, magnificently marked with brilliant white lines. And certainly compared to some of the pitches on which the Socceroos have had to play in Australia, it's Wembley by comparison, but it is hard underfoot. Players on occasion are going to lose their footing. We've seen that a couple of times.
For Australia as they keep losing the ball. This is Omar Housawi as we tick along towards half-time. Abdul Malik Al-Khaibri. Australian defence has pushed up in the hope of catching Al-Sallawi offside. 1 minute of stoppage time to be added. Lucky into the channel for Jackson Irvine, but he's not going to get there ahead of Salman Al-Faraj. Chance for you to sum up this first 45 minutes, Andy.
Well, the sooner it's over, the better. Is that enough? Socceroos just need to recalibrate. They'll be very grateful for the lead. They've dominated possession. They haven't played well with the ball. I don't think much better to come. That's the promising part of this. There's a lot of improvement in this team.
Strong challenge. Omar Housawi breaks for Matthew Leckie. It's too high for Juric. The Saudis will deal with that one. And interestingly, you say they've dominated possession. Actually, the Saudis are just in front in that regard. 51% to 49.
Well, I would imagine.
Here they come. Chance. Taisir Al-Jassim into the path of Al-Sallawi. 2-2 on the stroke of the break. Al-Jassim and Al-Sallawi combine, and the Saudis are back square once again. Remarkable. And as you said, Andy, the sooner this half is over for Australia, the better. They've been in all sorts at the back in this first 45, and they've been breached once more. Mohamed Al-Sallawi.
Well, Ryan McGowan has just lost the runner. Taisir Al-Jassim from midfield in behind Australia's defence. Magnificent header and a powerful finish. They're just too clever, too quick, too intuitive. In possession, in attack, the Saudis. And a cumbersome Australian performance in the first half is going to end by conceding the lead.
Fourth game in a row, the Saudis have scored a couple of goals in a game against the Australians. If they could defend, the Aussies would be in real trouble, and the half-time whistle is greeted almost by stunned silence by the home crowd. Tommy Juric has scored twice, but it's to no avail in terms of the scoreboard, because first Salam Al-Dossari and then Mohamed Al-Sallawi, with half-time approaching, have drawn the Saudis level twice. A sloppy first half by the Australians. They need to be much, much better in the second stanza. At the interval at Adelaide Oval, all square, Australia 2, Saudi Arabia 2.
Wow.
Well, Aziz Bayic has certainly played plenty of football this club season just gone. 32 starts in all for Bursaspor in Turkey. And he's not played for Australia since appearing against Kyrgyzstan, the very first game in World Cup qualifying for 2018, back in June 2015. But here's going to be the first change for the home team, and is about to win his 12th cap for his country in place of Brad Smith. So 3/4 of an hour that could really make or break Australia's World Cup hopes. Big team talk for Ange Postecoglou, and a big goal scored by Mohamed Al-Salawi, who now has 16 in total in these qualifiers for Russia, even though at least half of those have come against the Minnows. He's shown he can score against any level of opposition. Tim Cahill, you just saw on the bench there for the home team. I wonder if we'll get to see him at some stage. It is the Saudis in the predominantly all-white kits who get us back underway. And Andy Harper, that pass aside, which was pretty rotten from the Saudis, they have impressed us in this first half. Technically superb, as we knew they would be.
Yeah, so they've played to form. The Socceroos haven't played to form. And on that basis, I guess we should see it a blessing that it's still a draw. Because the Socceroos can play so much better, and they're going to need to get the win that they so covet here in Adelaide this evening. But if you had to distill the first half into one discussion point, it would be this, Simon. In possession, Australia are always scrambling to keep possession and lost it frequently. In possession, the Saudis look very settled and composed. And that was the platform, the difference in platform for both teams.
Well, within the first 2 minutes of the second half, that pattern's repeated. Aaron Moy has turned the ball over and then committed the foul. And this free kick, which Omar Hawsawi will take. And a point would be a decent result for Saudi Arabia, of course. It would keep them very much in pole position for a first World Cup qualification since 2006. They have the UAE to come next and then finish off with a home match against Japan, who are Australia's next opponents in Saitama, which again just underlines the need for 3 points today for Ange Postecoglou. Tommy Rogic trying to wriggle free of Salman Al Faraj, had a little tug at the jersey. Rogic still going. It's straight at Al Musailem in the end. And Rafshan Obertov might have been forgiven for blowing his whistle, but he tried to play the advantage.
Well, can you do both as a ref, Simon? I asked rhetorically. Can you play advantage and then say, well, you got a shot on goal, but it might have been so much more dangerous, and then penalise Al Faraj, who was making no bones about the fact that he was looking to illegally impede Tommy Rogic?
Double jeopardy.
Well, maybe the referee will just take a mental note. I'll play the advantage on that one without any extra caution.
Again, a turnover in Australia, but Ryan McGowan has got back goal side. Free kick in any case against Salem Al-Dossari. What a return to the national team for him. Score of that first equalising goal in the 23rd minute. The way those three players playing in behind Mohamed Al-Salawi have rotated has really caused Australia headaches as well. Also including Al-Shahiri and Taisir Al-Jassim. Tommy Rogic, a big second half from him, does Ange Postecoglou. Lecky going to get around the fullback, the cutback. And he finds Abdul Malik Al-Khaibri, who slices it inadvertently up in the air. That's tidy work. No way forward for Al-Salawi. Al-Dossari. Oh, look at that. That's superb. That is brilliant technique from the Saudi number 18. He had no right, really, to wriggle his way out of that amount of trouble, but did so seemingly effortlessly.
It was very graceful, wasn't it? was perfectly effective.
Sainsbury. The layoff by Rogic. Jedinak trying to puncture the defensive lines. It'll drop for Jackson Irvine. It's going to be a goal kick. Australia claiming a corner. I have to say, I thought that was my first instinct, but perhaps tellingly, there's not too many complaints from Matt Leckie.
Yeah, ball just wouldn't sit for Leckie. It was a good little build-up for the Socceroos. It looked way more purposeful, way more as though it was a pattern they'd rehearsed on the training pitch. In the end, the ball just skipping away from Matt Leckie, who was in a very good position at the end of all that.
Rich's touch took it away from Jackson Irvine. This is Salman Al-Faraj for Mohamed Al-Baraik. The squat figure of Yahya Al-Shahiri being driven back towards his own goal by Miloš Degenek. Degenek, who of course now playing his club football in Japan with Yokohama F. Marinos. Maybe an interesting build-up for him in that game in August in Saitama. I bet he'll be in demand in the Japanese media. I don't know whether he speaks the language yet. I know he was trying to learn it. And intriguingly, plays alongside, you might remember this name, Yuji Nakazawa, who played against Australia in the 2007 Asian Cup. He's still going around for Yokohama. Touching 40 these days. Good player back in the day.
Well, they don't pension off their greats in Japan.
That's true.
Kazumura is still playing.
Yeah. He's older than us.
Right, at age of 50, he is. Not a lot of people we can say that about in football, Simon.
I think he's the only one.
Okasawara as well for the Kashmir Antlers. He's certainly in the vintage stage.
Leckie just again had his pocket pinched on the blind side by Abdullah Al-Zouri. Sama Housawi readjusting. Picked up in the deep though by Moy. This is Leckie driven across towards Tommy Rogic. Saudis repel that particular raid. Back in by Moy. Too high for Jedinak. One back by Bajic. Moy looking for room. Can't find it. Al-Baraik is goal side. It'll be a goal kick.
Well, these are better passages from the Socceroos already. And the 5 minutes to start this half, much better than the 5 minutes even that started the first half. Notwithstanding the fact that Tommy Juric was about to give Australia the lead. But they never looked at home. Australia in the first 45 minutes, despite taking the lead twice. Despite indeed playing on home soil, but they're looking more composed so far in this half.
Trent Sainsbury was judging the flight there. Had to readjust quickly. The return ball from Matt Ryan came at him pretty sharpish. Saudis trying to press and keep Australia penned in. Bajic gets a throw. Aziz Bajic just avoided relegation in the Turkish Super League with Bursaspor with a win on the last day of the season. He's been a regular in that left full-back position. Rogic just letting the ball bounce over his foot. There's the state of affairs with 8 minutes played second half. Australia 2, Saudi Arabia 2, as it was, of course, in Jeddah last October. But a point, not what Ange Postecoglou needs or requires.
No, as he swigs on the water, he'll be wondering why his metronome, Aaron Moy, decided not to spray that ball at the first instance to Matt Leckie. When the secondary opportunity came to do that, the pass was overhit, resulting in the goal kick.
Moy, it's a better ball by the midfielder. Leckie has stolen a march on his defender. Aziz Bajic, not the tallest, And it won't quite drop for Tommy Juric. Nodded behind by Osama Housawi, a corner for Australia.
A bit of the word in the ear for Aaron Moy, perhaps, at half-time. And he is being way more dominant. There's a beautiful pass down the flank to release Lecky. I tell you what, Aziz Bajic made a great effort to get into the box.
They've gone short with the corner. See how it works out. Aaron Moy waiting a metre of space for the cross. Too flat to cause any real damage. Back with Degenek on halfway.
And whilst for Australia in that first half, Simon, there was a general malaise throughout the team, lack of passing quality. If you were to ask two players to really discover themselves in the half-time break to reset the tone, it would be Moy and it would be Rogic.
Yeah, those are the two game breakers, all right. That's a poor touch by Al-Salawi, which might just let in the Australians. Rogic feeds it out towards Aziz Bajic. Needs a bit of help. And look who's back there tracking to defend. Mohamed Al-Salawi. He's really got through a mountain of work, hasn't he? Offensively and defensively.
Very, very committed piece of play.
There's a couple of the options for Ange Postecoglou. Cahill and McLaren can pinch goals. Saudis, of course, have Nasser Al-Shamrani. They'll probably be a little bit happy with the status quo. Juric. He's peeling off the front line to link up with the midfielders. Aaron Moy in possession. Rogic. He's managed to thread it through beautifully. Has it got away from Bajic? No, he did manage to get the cross in before it crossed the whitewash, and it's not a bad result for the Socceroos. They get a corner.
Wonderful inclusion. Aziz Bajic has been, he's really having a crack down the left-hand flank. But again, Moy to Rogic to Moy. Here's the pattern for the Socceroos. Way more impressive with these two guys finding some form.
Let's see if they can find a third goal via a set piece. Moy's delivery. Al-Masailam's punch. Drops for Jackson Irvine. Rogic. Shot charged down. It squirts out towards Aaron Moy. Still plenty forward for the Roos. Moy find the space for the cross. He can. Right by Al-Salawi at the near post. And back into no great effect. Off the boot of Jackson Irvine. So it's such a good season with Burton Albion in the English Championship. 10 goals from midfield. Of course, as I'm sure you've read, turned down big money from China to stay with his club in the English Midlands. Saudi's capable of causing damage, though, particularly through that front four. Have to go back through their goalkeeper, though. Nasser Al-Masailam. It's a weak touch off Trent Sainsbury. Al-Salawi caught late. In fact, it was Al-Dosri. I think, no, it was Al-Salawi by Miller Jedinak, who is one of those Australians, incidentally, who is on a yellow card tonight throughout the previous qualifiers. So another one tonight, and he would miss the trip to Saitama in August. That would be a big loss for the Australians. The others, incidentally, carrying yellows tonight. Ryan McGowan, Jackson Irvine and Tommy Rogic. Brad Smith was as well, but as you know, he's been replaced by Bajic at half-time. Moy. Bajic. Rogic. Gets it back off Moy. Irvine, ball just wriggled away from him. Gets a second go at it. His first effort wasn't great, neither was his second.
No, hasn't hit the heights tonight, Jackson Irvine, but I'll say just again about Tommy Rogic, I'd suggest to the naked eye, but no stats to back this up whatsoever. Good at making those statements. He's touched the ball that involved more in this second half than for the entirety of the first half.
Miscommunication perhaps between Irvine and Leckie as to whether to leave the ball. Those two combine again. Leckie trying to wriggle clear. The Saudi defence wrap him up like a blanket. More changes afoot potentially. Robbie Cruz being readied. Would that be for Matt Leckie, do you think, Andy?
I would imagine it's going to be a straight swap.
Robbie Cruz, who, as coach Ange Postecoglou said, was rather fortunate to be in this squad due to his lack of football. He's without a club, of course, at the moment after leaving Liaoning in China. He's going to be with us shortly. Meantime, Australia could do with Aaron Moy delivering one of those trademark pinpoint set-piece deliveries. Towards the near post, it's off the head of Al Salawi again. Back in by Bayic. And out by Osama Housawi. Sainsbury. Australia's seen plenty of the ball. But the Saudis will have expected this, and so far, second half they defended pretty resolutely. Possession stats still fairly even overall. Here's Leckie. He's managed to find the gap for Tommy Rogic, who hit it with his less preferred right boot, and Al Musailam got down smartly to his left-hand post to make the stop.
He did well, falling to his left on the right foot of Tommy Rogic, his less preferred option, but a good run from midfield to get on the end of that pass.
Australia trying to build pressure. Another set piece for Aaron Moy, this time a corner. Juric couldn't reach it. Again, Irvine, that's a clever ball. They just can't find the angle to release a teammate. Moy again, Irvine. Working the angles, Australia. Moy's delivery. Al-Baraik's header. Just sense the Saudi back line started to become a little more stretched. Back with Jedinak. Australia enjoying an awful lot of possession. Tommy Rogic looking for the angle again. Al-Khaibri this time. Throws his body in the way. Saudi Arabia have some relief for the moment. Taisir Al-Jassim.
That's like a fire blanket at the moment, the Socceroos. Now, this is way more as per expectation.
Here is that change. It's not going to be Matt Leckie, in fact. It's going to be Jackson Irvine. He'll make way for Robbie Cruz. What do you make of that change, eh?
Yeah, well, interesting, because we would have all expected Robbie Cruz to have played wide. Quick check to think, well, can he do the job that Matthew Leckie's to do on the right-hand side? You wouldn't think he'd have the defensive capacity. And Jackson Irvine hasn't had the best of nights. Will take a little bit of the pressure off Robbie Cruz, I think, playing in a more central position. He can.
That's a loose turnover. To Leckie's credit, he did scramble back and get goal side and make an effective challenge to hold the Saudis' progress up. This is Al-Baraik. He's run into a cul-de-sac. Aziz Bayic wriggles clear. Juric has Cruz alongside. And that was pretty much that. It pops back for Aaron Moy. Now Tommy Rogic. Oh, great goal, Tommy Rogic. And Australia had the advantage once again. And he loves this venue, doesn't he? The Celtic midfielder, what a hit. 2 goals against Tajikistan here last year, and 1 tonight. And how crucial could that one prove to be?
Well, Aziz Baj again, very composed. Well done, Tommy Rogic. But if anyone's going to tell me, as we speculate, what Ange Postecoglou said at half-time to this team, it was, Aaron, Tommy, this is your stage. Tommy Rogic, from Aaron Moy, stands and delivers. Quite brilliant.
Well, left footers produce plenty of gold in recent weeks in the green and white hoops of Celtic. And now it's produced real gold for the green and gold. Can they hang on, Andy? It's the 3rd time they've been ahead.
Well,
let's see if they can make it a 2-goal margin. Robbie Cruz involved.
the fact is, it's been a much better second half than ever the first half, look, despite the leads they took. Now, there's no guarantee, of course, that they are going to be able to hang on. They just look much more like themselves at the moment. And in fact, we shouldn't talk in terms of hanging on, because they won't be.
Here's Aaron Moy, fancies his chances from similar sort of range. Robbie Cruz has picked up a knock. He seems to have a target on his back, doesn't he, Robbie Cruz? We say it every international picks up some sort of bang or knock.
I mean, the 2 stars of the Australian midfield have combined this half. They did for that goal, which is going to be replayed 1,000 times on Fox Sports, you can imagine. What fantastic television. What a great goal from Tommy Rogic.
Saudi's not yet out of it. Al-Salawi has wriggled clear. Well, it opened up for him, but he couldn't steer it past Matt Ryan. But again, his technique was exemplary to protect the ball away from the 2 defenders. Just unfortunately for Saudi Arabia, not the finish to match. Still not a huge amount of noise around Adelaide Oval. You almost sense, Andy, that the home fans don't quite believe yet that they're going to win this game.
No, and they're a long way from the action. It doesn't help their fans' engagement. But they're seeing a much more impressive, much more familiar performance from the Socceroos, pleasingly, with the goals for column and not requiring corners or penalties to do it.
Yeah, goals from open play, a rare commodity in recent weeks. Change being readied by the Saudis. It's going to be Abdullah Otaif, who is a midfielder. It's going to be first cab off the rank for Bert van Marwijk.
Well, excellent. Aziz Baj has been excellent since coming off the bench. He's very workmanlike, but confident, secure in possession and joining in the attack.
Ryan finding the space to link up with his captain, Mili Jedinak. Al-Zouri. Al-Masylem. Could he perhaps have done a little bit better with the Rogic goal? Al-Masylem, Andy, or am I being harsh? Did reach, he got a paw to it, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I think it was close to unstoppable. We've got one of Australia's and indeed the world's best practitioners of the art of goalkeeping. We'll ask him, Mark Bosnich. I'm sure he's got a view.
Here's that change. It's going to be Abdul Malik Al-Khaibri, who's one of the Saudi players who's sitting on the brink of a suspension as well. I wonder if that's part of the thinking. Or just some fresher legs in that defensive midfield role in the shape of Al Hilal's Abdullah Otaif. So So Bert van Marwijk is keeping Nasser Al-Shamrani up his sleeve for now. Pumped forward by Degenek. Controlled by Juric. Fired out towards Leckie. Cruz available. Flowing move by the Australians. Leckie in the box. Collision of bodies. No penalty, says Ravshan Ermatov. Interesting. Your take, Andy?
Well, I thought it was a penalty. I know we'll get some opportunities to see it in replay. And Matt Leckie looked to be clear. And if he was clear, it can't be shoulder to shoulder. Great interchange. No, he's taken him out, isn't he?
Yeah, looks that way. He's just run straight across him, hasn't he?
No, there's no intent to win the ball. It's as clear a penalty as ever there was.
Yeah, that's a penalty.
I don't know a referee how he can not see that. Ermatov, who is an outstanding match official. But how he missed that. And he had clear sight. He was right up with play. You only have to look at Salman Al-Faraj's eyes to realise that he only was trying to do one thing. Anyway, a lucky break for the Saudis. Goodness knows, Australia had plenty of lucky breaks in the first half.
Will that failure to award the penalty kick come back to haunt the Socceroos? Saudis still very much in it at 3-2, just under 20 minutes to go. Salman Al-Faraj can't stick hold of the ball in midfield. Bajic stamps it forwards. Well read by Osama Housawi. Cruz turns it over cheaply. And there's a bit of room here on the right for Yahya Al-Shahiri. Could they come behind from behind again, the Saudis? Aaron Moy back in the left fullback position. Here's the new man, Abdullah Otaif, for Yahya Al-Shahiri. Socceroos' turn to do a little bit of defending. Out towards Al-Zouri on the left. Al-Faraj. Back for Omar Housawi. Salman Al-Faraj. Yahya Al-Shahiri. Al-Jassim, in fact it was Salam Al-Dossari who chanced his arm from a fair way out. No problems for Matt Ryan. And just a little reminder, they've not quite gone away, the Green Falcons. Neither have those gremlins for the Socceroos.
Yeah, not completely, obviously. So the game is at that crucial stage. The Socceroos quite dominant for the opening period and rewarding themselves with that goal, care of Tommy Rogic. Thrilling, outstanding goal from Tommy Rogic. And then had justifiable claims for a penalty on Matthew Leckie turned down. In the normal course of events would have given them a 2-goal buffer. And now it's the Saudis who are just clawing their way back in to the football match. And they'll be very dangerous from here if Australia allow them to establish that foothold.
They've got about 800 fans inside the ground, the Saudis, who are trying to make some noise and give them some encouragement. A lot of students from Saudi Arabia in this city. We're told about 1,500 all told, and by the looks of it, most of them are here tonight. Team has been brave to come from behind twice. Can they do it a third time? Al-Shahiri. Salman Al-Faraj. Sama Housawi. On the line to Omar Housawi. Al-Dossari. They're stringing plenty of passes together, the Saudis, but not getting very far. Australia will be perfectly happy to allow them to have the ball in those sort of positions. Of Australia's final two games: Japan away 31st of August, and then in September a home match against Thailand. If they win tonight, Australia, which so far of course they're on course to do, we say tentatively, we don't want to tempt the omens or tempt the fates, they will move back into the equation for the top two. Very much so. They'll be level on points with Japan and Saudi Arabia. If they can get a two-goal winning margin, they'll be above the Saudis. Here's Lecky trying to give them that margin. Straight at Al Masylem.
Well, that was a good advantage play by referee Ermatov. Give a bloke a brick back. You have to give him a bouquet when he deserves, and nearly blew for a foul. Robbie Cruz, but Lecky burst forward and might have done more at the end of all that.
Again, the Saudis see plenty of the ball at the moment, but Australia happy just to sit off. They have the lead. The message is, you come and take it off us. This is Salem Al-Dosri. Switch of play, which wasn't the best, in all honesty, for Mohamed Al-Bareik. Hassawi. Salman Al-Faraj's layoff has gone astray. Tommy Juric can't stick hold of it. Interesting passage the last few minutes, Andy. Australia almost seemingly content to just try and absorb whatever the Saudis can throw at them. Is that a dangerous game that they're playing?
Yeah, I wouldn't think... I don't quite see it that way, Simon, but it is, you know, we all look at things differently. I think they're quite happy for the Saudis to maybe run themselves out of steam, but when the pass in possession from the Saudis goes back over halfway and they lose momentum, and then Robbie Cruz, Tommy Juric are pushing really hard to try and pinch the ball, and that's worked well. And the fact is, the Saudis have shown in open play they're very, very difficult to handle. They've shown less capacity when the field's been set and Australia have got themselves organised.
More changes afoot for the Saudis. I wonder if we're going to see Nasser Al-Shamrani at some stage. Made a habit of scoring against the Roos down the years. Robbie Cruz, meantime, has earned his team a corner. It's Salman Al-Mawasha, who is a midfielder, come winger for the Saudis. We'll keep our eye on those potential changes for the visitors. Meantime, Moy, nodded clear by Al-Salawi. Sainsbury's touch. Cruz in the corner. All of the ball didn't cross the line. So on we go. Rogic. Sainsbury and now Deganek. Gowan steering it back to Matt Ryan. had fewer worrisome moments in this second half, certainly than they did in the first. And the Saudis look dangerous virtually from every single attack.
Yeah, every time they touch the ball. But they haven't been able to cause Australia that much trouble. Australia haven't opened the field up, point one. The second point is they haven't picked the ball up in transition because Australia haven't given the ball away as much. They haven't been off balance in trying to counter the Saudis as they've pushed forward. And third, and a point we haven't made yet, the Socceroos do love to beat an opponent into submission. And whilst, you know, they haven't been at the Saudis for the entirety of the match, which is the normal way of things, they've certainly been really pressurising them in this second half, and perhaps significantly that's starting to take a toll as well.
Perhaps to that end, Bert van Marwijk is going to make a double change shortly. Interestingly, Nasser Al-Shamrani is not amongst those changes. Posted on that. Meantime, Moy for Cruz. Can't find the return ball. Dug out by Al-Shahiri. We're into the final 10 minutes in Adelaide. Socceroos with a slender lead. Clever play by Al-Shahiri. Stolen in midfield by Abdullah Otaif. This is Al-Shahiri again. Al-Salawi. Salam Al-Dossari. Can they make significant progress? Saudi Arabia, they've done so. This is Salam Al-Dossari. They managed to weave their way through the first line of defence. Al-Zouri turns it back towards halfway, and Al-Dossari working hard to try and move Australia around. Mohamed Al-Bareik has time to consider his options from the cross. It's not particularly good. Australia defended with ease. Juric being held off unfairly by Omar Housawi.
Two goals to Tommy Juric. Very good performance in general. That substitution is a small measure of relief to see the back of Yaya Al-Shahiri, Simon.
Yeah, terrific little player, but he's taken his leave to be replaced by Asiri, the number 9, and this is Salman Al-Moaisho, who's going to replace another one who's impressed us tonight, Salam Al-Dossari. And both, in fairness, have faded in the second half. And Bert van Marwijk is bringing on essentially two wingers as Massimo Luongo gets ready to come on for the Roos potentially. So we're not going to see Nasser Al-Shamrani, Andy. Interesting. You're chasing the game as the Saudis are. Would you be tempted to sling him on? This is Al-Salawi trying to get goal side of McGowan, who got a vital toe in, and then so did Miloš Degenek to protect the ball away from Salman Al-Faraj. Desperate and effective defending, and had to be so.
Oh, brilliant.
Dug out by Aziz Bejic at the other end. Osama Housawi got in a real tangle. Squared up for Tommy Juric. And the chance was there for a hat-trick for the Luzerne striker. And he scooped it up and over the bar.
Well, end to end, finally. Aziz Bejic again capping off a wonderful second half, just through sheer guts getting himself into a position where he can put a hat-trick on the table for Tommy Juric, who spoons it from 7 yards. But massive credit to Ryan McGowan. A gilt-edged tackle to save things, and then Miloš Degenek as well. Superbly desperate by the two Socceroos defenders.
And again, just goes to show that not out of the woods yet. Al-Salawi has been tremendous, but the back heel doesn't find its mark this time. It's a good steal by Omar Housawi. Abdullah Otaif for another one of the substitutes, Asiri. Al-Zouri. Salman Al-Faraj. Abdullah Otaif. Now for Abdullah Al-Zouri. Clipped through for Tyser Al-Jassim, who's barely been sighted second half, but he was offside. So Massimo Luongo is stripped and ready. We're told it's going to be Tommy Juric who'll be replaced, so that first ever Australian hat-trick will have to wait a little while longer, Andy. But well, what a role he's played tonight for the Roos.
Really good game, and you know, unfortunately, the hard truth is the hat-trick was theirs for him to secure. But a great game from Tommy Juric. Congratulations to him. A wonderful technique to score his first goal, and a super header to get the second. Arguably the most difficult, or the easiest of the three. Were there to be three, he missed at the end. Very, very good night out for the Lucerne man.
Exit Tommy Juric, job done. Into Massimo Luongo, still with a little bit of a job to do for the Roos. Pumped forward by Ryan, but it's found its mark in Robbie Cruz. Lucky. Luongo giving chase, but there was a foul on Al-Mawasha. Just under 5 minutes to go, plus stoppages. Is there going to be one more twist in this game, which has had a few of them? It's been tough going for the Roos. Cruz is offside. And so far, they're the right side of the scoreline.
So far, you'd think that was a tight one too. Robbie Cruz has worked well since coming off the bench. He's been pushed forward. Tommy Juric making way for Luongo, so Robbie Cruz has moved into centre forward.
Last time we saw him play that role was for Melbourne Victory, wasn't it, in this country? A few years back. So both coaches have now used their full complement of substitutes. Means we're not going to see Tim Cahill tonight in Adelaide. Robbie Cruz is one of the changes. Lovely ball. And Aziz Behich was stretching but just couldn't reach it. Otherwise, that would have been game over.
Well, brilliant work.
What a ball across.
Robbie Cruz. So turns and nutmegs. Almost. Just swirled, curling it away from Aziz Behich, who you couldn't have said didn't deserve a goal. He's been great since coming on at half-time, Aziz Behich.
Prodded forward by Asiri, Al-Salawi. Problems here potentially for Australia. They appeal for handball, the Saudis, pretty loudly as well. And that appeal is waved away by Ravshan Urmatov. That'll make for interesting viewing on the replay. Here we go.
Well, his arm's close to his body. Hasn't got a lot of time to react. I'm interpreting the referee reading that situation.
He touched it.
Cruz wants to continue the conversation with the Uzbek linesman. So he got the last touch.
Did twice.
Did he just
before the one that got
graze
to
the
the line.
ball with his studs, Omar Al-Salawi?
Yeah, it's definitely a corner. Robbie Cruz was right.
Luongo. Cruz. Got away briefly from Omar Al-Salawi. Back with Lecky. Ryan McGowan. Had a pretty torrid first half, didn't he, the South Australian, Ryan McGowan, but steadier second period.
Very steady. So much so that you barely noticed. And the time we did notice him was that very desperate piece of work to stop a
Which
great
was very
chance for
good.
the Saudis. That was excellent work.
Moy, lovely reverse ball, straight into the path of Cruz, who digs out the cross somehow. Didn't have an awful lot of room for manoeuvre. Saudis can't clear their lines. Back come Australia again. Mas Luongo trying to weave his way through traffic, can't do so. This is a series. Saudis looking to launch a late counter. Game becoming a little stretched. Anywhere will do for Australia.
Yeah, the Aussies just finishing way too strong physically. Even on that slight opportunity of a counter-attack on halfway, there were 3, 4, maybe 5 even Socceroos sweating on the two Saudis, trying to break free.
On the strength of what you've seen tonight, Andy, we've got 3 teams, or will have if this result is confirmed, on 16 points, but only 2 can go through. Which 2? Japan, Saudi Arabia, Australia.
Well, I go with head and heart that Japan and Australia will go through. Australia will draw level on points with the Saudis. 2 games to go. Japan play next week. Of course, this match day brought forward because Australia leaves for the Confederations Cup next week. Otherwise, the corresponding fixtures in this match day are June 13. We'll know a little bit more then. Japan will be away to Iraq, that match at the Paz Stadium in Tehran.
It's a stoppage time here. Australia almost got the job done. Foul on the Wongo will eat up a few more seconds. Get clipped forward by Sainsbury, met by Cruz. Gets it back off Lecky, the Wongo. And it goes, and we're into the 2nd minute of stoppage time. The Saudis who've fought so hard tonight and shown admirable quality, particularly in the first half. Almost in the last chance saloon. They've got a free kick.
Oh, certainly, apropos the venue for tonight, Simon, entering the nervous 90s, or have entered the nervous 90s.
Well, they scored in first half stoppage time. Let's see if they can repeat the trick.
Well, at the very least, the Socceroos will remain unbeaten in World Cup qualification matches since 2008 at home.
I'll tell you what, there's no way the free kick should be taken from there, but Albaret was adamant that's where it was going to be placed. Not that it's done him much good. Comfortable catch for Matt Ryan. He might be in the Premier League next year with Brighton, if you believe the press rumours. Here's Robbie Cruz, who just wants a club.
It feels like he just got one over the back of that.
Yeah. Boom, boom. .30 seconds to go. Maroon's happy to play a bit of keep ball on that far touchline. Not showing any particular ambition, although just a reminder, a second, or should I say a 4th goal, which would give them a 2-goal margin, would take them above the Saudis, but it's not going to happen. Ravshan Ermatov brings proceedings to a close. And uncomfortable as it was at times, they've got the job done, Australia, thanks to a blinding second-half strike from Tommy Rogic after a very sloppy first half, the highlight of which was a brace of goals for Tommy Juric. In between all that, there were equalisers for Salam Al-Dosri and for Mohamed Al-Salawi right on the cusp of half-time. You wouldn't say it was the most convincing display, but the important thing tonight for Australia was 3 points, and they've got them. They've hit a few potholes along the way in this qualifying campaign, and tonight certainly threatened to be another one, but they are now back in the fast lane, potentially towards Russia, and their destiny in their own hands after seeing off the Saudis. And now they can look forward to and enjoy the friendly against Brazil and then the Confederations Cup in Russia before they regroup for the big one against Japan in Saitama in August. Full-time scoreline here at Adelaide Oval. Australia have won it by 3-2. Well, Ange Postecoglou will be delighted with the scoreline, maybe not the performance at times, but the important thing is those 3 points, and they join Japan and Saudi Arabia on 16 points. Japan, of course, still have that crucial game in hand, which they will play in Iran against Iraq.
And the desired result for the Socceroos, how pleasing is that?
Yeah, important result for us. You know, I think everybody knew what was on the line tonight, and we had a little bit of a slow start and a few hiccups along the way, but you know, we kept playing the way we need to play and doing what we need to do right, and we got rewarded at the end.
And for you personally, you were on fire. Talk to me about those goals, especially the first one. What a finish, what control from you.
Just a bit of instinct, I guess. You know, not a lot of time to react, and you know, striker's instinct.
And how important was that personally for you in terms of cementing that central striker's role and making that your own?
Yeah, look, I've been involved for a while now, and you know, all I can do is just come in here and give 100%. And you know, it's a privilege for me to put on this shirt every time I do, and I don't take any you know, small things lightly.
They did make it hard for you, though. Every time you did take the lead, they equalised. How difficult was it out there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we kind of let them come back in the game, and we took our foot off the throttle a little bit, and, you know, it cost us. And but we did great in the second half to react to that, and, you know, Tommy scored a great goal and a great finish for us to win the game.
And what has camp been like this time around? You've come in red-hot form from Lucerne over in Switzerland. Aaron Moy, of course, Tommy Rogic. Has there been a change?
No change. You know, we still come here and we do what we need to do, and you know, it's a bit of a confidence booster when you come in and you've been doing well in your club. But you know, the boys have been great so far, and you know, we'll continue to work and do our thing.
Great performance from you tonight. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, Tara.
Result tonight, considering how you took the game to them.
يقول احنا لعبنا شوط اول كنا كويس، احنا دخلنا اليوم انه ما قدنا اقل خساره. ان شاء الله نحاول نقدم مباراه الامارات ومباراه اليابان نتيجه كويسه.
Against first team, actually, first half for us, we didn't play that well, but we tried to compensate the loss of the first time for the second time. But God willing, we're gonna do it better performance for the next game. God willing.
How do you still rate your chances in terms of qualifying for the World Cup?
اي اكيد احنا الحين تقريبا احنا مستقبل استراليا نفس النقاط. المباريات الجايه ان شاء الله تكون من صالحنا وباذن الله نحاول نرجع ما خسرنا يعني عندنا بطاقه يعني موجود بطاقه تاهل من صالحنا ان شاء الله باذن الله.
Sure, because now we are equaling the same points with the Australian national team. That's not the end of the story. Actually, we have other games to compensate to get back to our main performance.
Lots of positives then to take from that performance.
ما عادي نقول يعني كنا نتمنى اننا نفوز والهدف يصير مؤثر بس انه ما حالفنا الحظ ان شاء الله الجاي ان شاء الله.
I was waiting actually to invert the results and to get the game, especially after the goal is scored. But we weren't lucky in this game, and God willing, we will compensate in the next game.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Combine and the Saudis are back square. Australia have the advantage once again, and he loves this venue.